Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 61, and my friends, it has been a little while. The Christmas season kicked into gear completely, and I took a little bit of time off during the holidays just to sit back, relax, and apparently get ill. It always happens. As soon as I take any time off from YouTube and things, I instantly get ill. It's ridiculous. So I've got a completely stuffed up nose, my throat is incredibly sore, but I thought it was time to get back onto the Hermitcraft server and start work on some projects because I've really missed this place. Like seriously, I've missed this place. This isn't my base, so I haven't really missed this base in particular, but I've missed my base. But the reason that I'm here is because, well, as you guys know, I totally didn't build something in Grian's base. And Grian responded by totally not building something in my base. As you can see, this is the thing that he hasn't constructed in my base right here. It seems to be, I mean, I'm quite impressed actually. It seems to be an automatic egg dispenser powered by this egg farm up here, which will dispense chickens out into the snowball, which will then drop out the bottom and make their way into my base. I have to say, this is a pretty smart design. But of course, we're not going to let him get away with it, so at some point during this episode, we're going to not build something in his base again. Wow, these guys are still alive. So the polar bears in my new snow biome have actually managed to survive. All three of them are still going strong, which I must admit was totally unexpected. I thought they'd be dead by now. Wasn't really expecting to do this, but I thought it would be good to actually clear out some of the blocks in this area here, and it feels so much more open. Like, that is an enormous improvement. Anyway, to start things off, in today's Hermitcraft episode, we are going to be working on the villager trading system. So inside these two boxes right here, we have got 4 villagers, 2 in each one. They were transported over by myself and Impulse SV in boats. It was a lot of fun. And what we're going to do is we're going to start work on the design for my villager trading hall. As I mentioned in a recent Hermitcraft episode, I decided I wanted it to be vertical, which is going to be interesting. So we're going to have to try this out in some form of testing world. Right, so this is one of the modules that is going to be storing up our villagers. And I guess, see, the only thing that is going to be tricky here is going to be transporting them out of the system, but I guess we could just stack up. So we'll have water streams which go across like this, and then this is where the villagers are actually going to be dropped out of, and then that is going to be our water tube or our drop through tube, which is going to drop them down onto the next layer. Okay, so this is now going to be repeated a bunch of times. I tried my best to make use of the clone command, and yeah, it didn't work so well. How did that work? Right, I think I've finally got the hang of this. Okay. So, those are all of the clone systems. I don't think we would go much harder than that. So that is 7, 14, so that would be 28 villagers in total stored inside the system. I would say that's more than enough, and it looks pretty cool, I have to say. Right, let's see if this works. I'm just going to give it a whirl. So if we go like this, he then shoots up. Oh, he kind of bobs along a little bit. But this seems promising. And then he drops down into the system. Now, like all of these, he drops down 1 block further along because that's just always how this thing works. But that is... it's amazing that he just bobs up like that. And then this guy should drop in next to him. Which... yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Now we should probably test it as if this entire layer is filled in. So if we just grab ourselves another minecart and chuck another villager through the system. So this guy should be picked up, he should fly up to the top, and then he should be transported across into the next level. Now, one thing that I will just point out is that when we cloned all of these detector rails ended up being in the wrong location. They should be like this. So some parts of the system aren't working, but that's to be expected because, as I say, that was broken by the clone, not because the system isn't working. But anyway, this guy gradually moves along, and then he stops. Is there any reason why he would stop? Maybe it's because he's a little bit too high up. Yeah, it seems to be. So this guy, Yep, this guy has made it all the way to the end. So the problem is that the fence gates actually pushed the minecart out of the water, so it's no longer being pushed along. I can't think of any way to fix that. Pistons seem like the solution, but then of course the water would actually drop through and destroy the entire redstone contraption, so that's no good. A waterlogged trapdoor also seemed like a good idea, but I imagine when this opens it will also drop the water through, and also the water doesn't flow. My new idea is to keep using fence gates, but instead of having the water directly on top of the fence gates, we actually have the water one block above, suspended by signs. And you know what? It appears to be working quite nicely. So this guy is moving along. And yep, he's showing no signs of stopping. I think finally we can safely say we've got ourselves a working design. So let's pop back onto the Hermitcraft server. I've done the maths here, and we're going to need 84 redstone torches, 28 repeaters, 28 fence gates, 4 fence posts, 28 levers, 28 signs, 28 detector rails, 28 powered rails, 56 regular rails, and 28 iron trapdoors. So, actually not that much. You know, I think I'm actually going to make use of Scar's store here, because he has some real, 2 diamonds for 64 repeaters. Considering I've run out of stone, that's a great deal. I've actually managed to cobble together all of the resources. So we've got all of the redstone bits and pieces, and also we've got all of the white concrete and all of the white stained glass that we're going to be using for this build. You see, the theme for this island is actually going to be the opposite of what we have going on in the base. So my base is mainly white concrete with then hints of the cyan terracotta, whereas this is going to be flipped around. So we're going to have cyan terracotta as the predominant block with hints of white concrete. But then the inside of this build I thought would look really cool if we had all white concrete. So it's like cyan terracotta with white concrete internals. Yeah, it sounds good to me. Plus, I just crafted a bunch of it, so I'm not changing my mind now. Okay, so the first part of this build has been constructed. So this is the first module without any of the redstone involved. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up everything on this front side here. So we've got all the minecart rails, we've got all of the redstone torches and repeaters, we've got the fence gates, and then this is the water stream. That's the other water stream, which is going to be pushing out the villagers that we don't want anymore. So technically, about 90% of the build is in place. The only thing that we haven't really done is all the stuff out the back, because it's difficult to place in as you're building, so I'll do that at the end. But now all I've got to do is stack another 3 of these on top of this system right here. So it's going to go up like this. Oh, and by the way, I'm building it facing my base, and then the structure itself is actually going to take up most of this island now that I look at it. Yeah, this is actually going to be quite big. Alright, we need to work out what else we're going to do around this build, to be honest with you. Now, I thought this would work well in the form of a super fast time lapse, and during the super fast time lapse I thought I would do a super fast time lapse chat where I tell you a super fast story of how I've been a little bit silly, and it's something that I've been dealing with all day. So over the Christmas period, I don't know how I managed to do this, but for the first time ever, I left my window open. Okay, I never do that. Obviously, I don't fancy leaving my window open to the studio because there's plenty of good equipment in here, and I don't want it to be stolen. But, you know, the window was left open, and my computer was left on. Now, thankfully, nothing got stolen, but every single small little fly, like these tiny, tiny little flies in the entire neighborhood, seems to have made their way into my room. And they have just been flying around me all day, and it's driving me around the bend, because no matter what I do, they just appear out of nowhere, and they fly in front of my face, fly into my nose, into my eyeballs, into my mouth. I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. This is now all looking pretty sweet. So we have got all of the blocks in place. I haven't actually seen this thing from the back yet, but it looks... yeah, it looks cool. It looks very small. It looks very small on this island. But obviously we'll beef it up with a building that's going to be going around it. Anyway, next up, we have to place in all of the water. We have to place in all of the redstone out the back. And we also have to place in the water tube, which is going to be taking our villagers upwards. Placing in that redstone was so easy. I'm so glad that we decided to do it in that order. And now that we're starting to get some of the other builds around it, it's starting to look super, super cool. So once you actually get like a structure around this thing, and then maybe some terraforming going on, some potential pipelines and things like that running into this structure, yeah, it's gonna look great. It's really cool starting work on this other island. So there we have it, ladies and gents. That is our villager trading system all constructed. So we now have a way to actually keep our villagers inside a trading system. Of course, we'll have to work on designs for the building and also the way that we're going to go between the layers, and also how we're going to show what villagers are on what layer, because otherwise that's going to be really frustrating if you go up to the top layer and then find out that the villager that you want is actually on the 3rd layer. So we're going to have to do some work on that. But for now, I think I'm going to leave this project behind and we're going to do some other bits and pieces. Now, I've been reading through your comments and a lot of people have been telling me to check out a certain build in the Christmas district. But before I do, these are the roofs that I was talking about. God, they're so beautiful. They are so, so beautiful. And that is such a cool entrance into the golf course. And see, I knew I was right. I was using spruce wood for my golf course. You all laughed at me, and look at this. The entrance is made entirely of it. Anyway, I've heard that there's a certain build by Tango and Impulse that I really need to check out because, well, I mean, one of my favourite builds from Hermitcraft Season 5 was when we had, you know, the giant underground shopping area that we had in Hermitcraft Season 5. I believe it was Tango and Impulse again, made a little kind of Christmas factory type thing, and they had these little elves running across. I thought it was hilarious, and I think they might have done something similar in here. Now, I imagine it's probably in one of these buildings. This one's looking promising. Welcome to Santa's Teddy Bear Workshop. Now, I know it is currently the 30th of December, so we're a little bit late, but I would feel awful if we didn't check this place out. So, these guys right here are our little elves. Now, I wonder, we should be seeing... Oh, man. Oh, no. I don't know if I've done something wrong or if the redstone's been switched off because maybe it's after Christmas and maybe it was causing a little bit of lag. But, okay, I would implore all of you to go out and check out Tango Tech's and Impulse SV's video on this, because I've been giving it a watch, and what we're meant to see is a little teddy bear being constructed as it makes its way round, and then the elves kind of follow it. It's one of the coolest builds ever, and I was so excited to check it out. But it looks like, yeah, it's either been deactivated or some Minecraft quirkiness has caused the entities to despawn, because you can see, yeah, the elves are kind of freaking out. They don't know what to do. Look at that. Oh, pure mayhem. But regardless of that, this is still a really, really impressive build. I mean, I love the stockings above the fireplace. I love the cookies and cream, and I guess that's probably a letter to Santa. We've got this looks so cozy. This looks so warm and nice. In fact, you know what? There's no more of this episode. I'm just going to sit here from this point forth. I wish I had, because this place is a lot less cozy and also a lot less friendly to my computer, but it's quite friendly to my Elytra, so, you know, I give it a free pass. I've just come... I was just thinking, so as I was making my way back over to the base, I was just thinking, Grian's system doesn't seem to be working that well. There's not that many chickens inside my base area. Surely this area should have filled up by now. Turns out that it doesn't drop the chicken into there and then have it drop out. It fires it out there. Look! We just witnessed it happen. Okay, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to not build something in Grian's base, because here's the thing. Okay, he was online, but now he has just gone offline, which means that we should have a free pass to do this. So here's the thing. The design that I originally built in Grian's base actually kills the chicken. Yeah, this is something that I hadn't really thought of, but when you push the egg... So the idea was that it would dispense an egg out, and then the chicken would spawn, and then the double piston extender would push the chicken back up onto the surface. But the problem is that, yeah, when it pushes it back up, occasionally the chicken gets stuck in the block, and then the chicken actually dies. So we're going to fix up the design, make it better, and then, yeah, build it in Grian's base. But remember, when you tell Grian, because I know that you can't resist, okay, you have to tell him that I haven't built something in Grian's base. Okay, that's very important. Mumbo hasn't built something in Grian's base. I have accidentally come up with something really smart here. So if we take a look at this system, if I place an egg on the inside of this thing, let's throw it in here. You can see that the egg gets launched up and out. And it's based on... so essentially this piston just moves up and down and allows the egg to actually travel up through the blocks. Now, as I say, totally unintentional. I was planning on having trapdoors and things like that. But this system works amazingly and is completely hidden away and seems to be fairly reliable. I mean, this is actually working, isn't it? This isn't some kind of weird visual glitch. Those eggs, they are actually functioning. I'm yet to get a chicken though. There it is! First chicken created by this system. Okay, so the way that we're going to be feeding this machine is we're going to have an item elevator which is going to take eggs from down near bedrock. That's where we're going to be putting our egg farm so that Grian can't hear it, and then the eggs are going to travel up, go through into this hopper, and then be launched upwards from there. This was such a complicated system. We had hopper clocks, I've got everything going on here. This was absolutely massive. Double piston extenders, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so that is part number 1 completed. That's actually the egg shooting system, all done and dusted. Now I need to make my way down towards bedrock, which is actually quite a long way, and create this item elevator, which is going to be sending our eggs upwards. Okay. Maybe we won't go down to bedrock then. I've fallen somewhere. I seem to have created another problem for myself in that... What on earth was that? Forget my problem, that seems much worse. Now that I've managed to free myself from that bubble column there, it's time to actually start filling this thing in with chickens. And you know what? I think I'm going to do this quite slowly because I don't want to kill any. Did we just get 4 chickens from 1 egg? That's really rare. So with 6 stacks of eggs, we managed to get this many baby chickens. They will lay eggs into this dropper right here, which will then drop the egg out. It will go up the bubble column into the shooting mechanism, which will then shoot the egg out onto the surface of Grian's base. Okay, hopefully that works. You know what, I'm actually going to try it out. I'm going to go AFK for 1 hour and we'll see if we get any chickens. And I thought it'd be super cool to do a fast time lapse of this happening so you could see all of the eggs flying out gradually, his base filling up with chickens. It seemed hilarious in my head. But then as we watch, you might notice... Not a whole lot's happening, is it? Yeah, I might have to get you guys to comment in Grian's comment section that I am yet to build anything that works in Grian's base. Every single time I try and do this, it doesn't function. Well, I hope you enjoyed that time lapse of literally nothing happening. That was terrible. It doesn't appear to have worked in the slightest. I mean, this system works fine. And these guys are laying eggs just fine, and they're making their way into the system just fine. But the actual circuit doesn't work. There's even a baby chicken in here. I don't know what to say, really. I don't understand why that worked in my testing world, but not here. Maybe... I've just remembered something. Yeah, that needed to be on 4 ticks. This is probably going to work now, to be honest. I'm currently waiting to see if that has fixed the system. If it has, I'll be very happy, but also quite upset at my own silliness. Oh! Yes! That is now working. I was literally just checking whether or not I had broken some of the redstone, and it kicked into action. So there we go. That egg just fired up through the floor, and they're going to be kind of landing sporadically in this area right here. Okay, it's now finally up and running. And there it is again. Nice. You best believe I'm going AFK overnight and loading up Grian's base just to fill it up with chickens. But before we do, I thought I would quickly check on... Oh! We have sold out of pumpkins. right. Wasn't really expecting that. I thought I'd just check on the stores. To be honest, I was going to make a joke about how badly they would have done over the Christmas period, but whoa. So I guess we'll get those fully restocked nice and quickly. I mean, it shouldn't be too difficult. I brought all of the shulker boxes back home, so hopefully this should do the trick. And by the look of things, we have almost the perfect number of pumpkins to actually get everything fully restocked. So not only am I going to have to AFK at Grian's base, I'm also going to have to AFK at my base at some point to get these things back. And we're running low. Anyway, here I am down underneath Grian's base, and I think if I just drop down into here and then do this, okay, that's gotten rid of all the water. Amazing that I actually had a torch. That was not planned. And then all I need is just a chest where I can place in all my items. And this should do me. So, I'm going to chill out in this zone right here for, yeah, the next night, maybe 2 nights. And hopefully when I return, there should be plenty of chickens in Grian's base if he hasn't found out about it. But anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this episode on the Hermitcraft server. If you have, please drop that like button. And if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.